Welcome, colleagues, to a general overview of new compliance attestations for new employees. My name is Jake Fector. I'm joined by Alicia Bauer. We're excited to have you on board to our compliance portal here in ACA compliance. So a little bit of an overview of the requirements at a high level here, and then we'll get into the system. So as part of being an SEC registered firm, all associates at our company are considered access persons because they have access to client information. Because of that, there's some initial trading and policy sign-off that we need all employees to go through as part of our compliance program and our controls and protocol. Some of that is a little time sensitive. It needs to be done within the first 10 days of your onboarding. Some of it is a little bit longer and takes 30 days to complete. We'll go through some of those requirements, but also know that you'll be accessing this system on an ongoing basis. There are quarterly attestations that we send out through ACA for employees to complete related to trading and other ongoing questions. So this will be a system you use pretty frequently, and we want to make sure that you're trained on properly. So to get into ACA itself, there's an OCTA title for ACA compliance. You can click that tile. You should not need a username or password. It should send you straight to a screen that looks very similar to this. So with that, I'll kick it over to Alicia to kind of go over the more pressing 10-day requirements that may be in the system. Alicia?
Great, thank you, Jake. First, we're going to go over the initial holdings and accounts certification. When you click into the certification, you'll see that you'll first have the initial holdings. Our recommendation here is for you to actually attach a statement on the very bottom of this screen. So if you scroll down to the bottom, next to the comments, you'll see attachments, and you can drop in your latest statements for any brokerage accounts that you have. If you prefer to manually add them in, you certainly can do so. You can do that by hitting the Create New button and then manually typing in the information. Next, you'll need to disclose your accounts. To be able to do so, we're actually going to direct you back to the home page. You can go ahead and hit the dashboard button. On that main homepage, under the quick link section, you'll see the Create Broker Account. Once you click into that, it will ask you a series of information, including aggregation feed, direct feed, or manual. Highly recommended that everyone use a direct feed, so we would say to start there. It'll ask for your name. Let's say hypothetically you're putting into account of Charles Schwab. You'll go ahead and hit that particular broker, and then it will ask you for account name and account number. And then on the next screen, it will ask you if the account is managed and if you have investment discretion. We do request that you guys disclose this information because there are a series of workflows that work off of this required information. Once you've put in all the information, you go ahead and hit Save. Once you have completed this section, you'll head back to the dashboard. And then you can jump back into the initial holdings and account certification. Once you're there, you should see those accounts that you have disclosed under the initial accounts section. If all the information is accurate, you can scroll to the bottom, type your name for your signature, and go ahead and hit sign. As Jake has mentioned, this certification is due within the first 10 days.
And one other item I wanted to mention is this concept of reportable securities. So the SEC has some explicit guidance on the types of securities and therein the types of accounts that employees need to disclose as part of being an access person. If you have an account that either has reportable securities and or has the ability to hold reportable securities, it needs to be disclosed here as an initial account. We need to have supervision on that account itself. So again, most of the time, you're going to have to disclose that account, and we often just recommend to be on the conservative side and not have to think about, okay, does the account have a reportable security? Does it have the ability to hold a reportable security? Just go ahead and disclose it. Our team can be the arbiters of whether it needs to fit that threshold or not. So just wanted to mention that while we were on this screen. So the other initial item you'll see is this consent to data sharing. So if we click into this one, it's also worth mentioning that when we think about the type of accounts that need to be disclosed, that actually includes any adult family members living in your immediate household. So, right, think about, again, either a spouse and or any other multi-generational types of family arrangements that might exist. If those individuals have brokerage accounts or have any type of investment accounts that fit the reportable security threshold, we also need to get those accounts fed through this system. So we'll help you walk through that. Again, that's by adding those brokerage accounts on the home screen, but this data consent aspect is an important aspect of that as well, because we need to get your consent to reach out to the custodians and the vendors we work with to report those data feeds from those vendors to our ACA portal here. And so that's, again, what we're trying to accomplish here. It's you're giving us the consent to go out to those vendors, go out to those custodians for your own accounts, and for those family accounts to send those to our compliance team and to send those to ACA for review. So just wanted to mention that. And so a final reminder on the consent to data sharing, that is just to share data directly to ACA. It's not in other ways, right? We think about sharing information. We're respectful of that, and we only need to do so when warranted. And that's just for the use case that is sending brokerage account data information from a custodian to ACA. That's the only application here. So just wanted to mention that. Alicia, anything else on these initial action items?
Yes, a few other items. So you'll see you have 2 additional action items to complete. The due date on those is a little bit later. They are just our initial compliance policies and then policies and procedures manual acknowledgement. You'll be able to read through those. If you have any questions on that, feel free to ask any member of the compliance team and we can answer those for you. Some additional items on this screen, as we walked you through that quick link section to create those brokerage accounts, there are additional things that you can do over under the quick links section as well. So you'll be able to submit trade requests there, submit political contributions, gifts and entertainment, outside business activity. There's also a series of other requests that you can submit and other disclosures under that submit other request button. As always, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to a member of the compliance team or you can utilize the help center that's on ACA.